This thing looks crazy good. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to a great day. Well, today we're going to be lowering my 2013 BMW X5 E70. Now, I picked this thing up about 6 months ago at a really great price. This thing has 50,000 miles, 2013. I got it for 10 grand. It's a steal. The option on this one is nice. It's got that chocolate brown interior, which I really like about this one. Normally they come with the brown or like a tan or a black interior, but this one has that nice chocolate interior. No flaws, no oil leaks, no nothing, not yet. These do have their problems. Like I said, I've owned one of these before. I know they got their issues, but I just love the way these look. I just don't like the wheel gap it has. So we're gonna adjust that today, or take care of that problem. This does have these self-leveling bags in the rear and struts in the front. So I was gonna go with the coilover system, but since it has that, we had to go with this version. These are the 2-inch lowering springs for the front and the self-adjustable end links for the rear for the bags. So we'll put these on last. First, we'll tackle the springs in the front, which shouldn't be too bad since, like I said, this thing does have low mileage, no rust, so should be pretty simple. I think, like I said, I do want this looking like an M version, so eventually I will get different bumpers, front and rear, and then I want to get different wheels and tires, and maybe an exhaust system for this thing as well. So it definitely sounds like it looks. But anyways, let's go ahead and get started by getting some measurements first. I want to get some before and after measurements to see how far this actually does get lowered. Then a couple weeks later, I will just update you guys. Oh, and I do want to lower, or at least install these, I bought these 20mm wheel spacers for the rear. So I want to get the wheels in the back a little bit more flush with the body, since they are kind of tucked in. Those 315s back there, it'll look better when they're sticking out a little bit more. Well, eventually, like I said, I'll get wheels and tires, but for now, I want it stance looking good. So, rear. All right, so before I go ahead and jack the car up, I do want to get access to the top strut mount bolts. And in order to do that, we have to remove these covers here on top because they're covered by that. So I can only see one here, and the other two are located back here and back there. So let's go ahead and take these off first. All right, once we've removed or unlocked these 10s here, torque is 25 right there, remove that. Then we can pull this cover off to the side. There is a 10mm here, 10mm there, and then we can simply just pull this cover up out of our way. We don't have to remove it all the way. We can just remove, at least pull it back far enough till we can get to our top strut mount bolts. There's one right there, one right there, and the other one is right there. All right, as you guys can tell, got some juice or WD-40 liquid or soaking up inside in between the fork and the strut here to kind of help loosen up the fork here once we loosen up these bolts. So this bolt up here is an 18mm. I'm gonna go ahead and get that loose right now with the impact. That should come out pretty easily. The lower one here, which I'll show you here in a little bit. Lower bolt here, which is a 21mm or a 13/16. It's a bolt and nut on the other side. You're gonna want to break it loose with the breaker bar from the bolt side head from right here on this side, because you're not gonna have any room on the other side, because the sway bar end link or sway bar is in the way of the actual nut here to put even a breaker bar. So you're gonna have to break it loose from the back side here where the bolt head is, and once you break it loose, you can just simply impact with a wrench on the nut on the other side so it doesn't spin, and just like that, take the nut off and pull the bolt out of here, and hopefully, yep, look, the fork is sliding down off the strut already. Now it's not going to come all the way off because we need to pry. It's going to start hitting the CV axle here, the lower of the fork. So we need maybe, I don't know, maybe like another 1.5 inches. So we're gonna have to put a pry bar up here between the control arm and the strut, or at least one of the coils here on the strut, and pry down. Well, that gives us enough room to get that fork out of there. So let's go ahead and use this breaker bar here, like I said, and just simply wedge it in between the control arm and try not to hit the fender, so like this, which will give me some more room down here. So I'm gonna see if I can put the camera down, guys, while I try to remove the fork out of here for you guys. All right, now go on top. And our last one, and our strut should fall down. Go ahead and hold it first. Okay. There she comes. All right. All right. Before we go ahead and use our strut compressor tools here, you want to mark the strut in relations to the bolt that was facing the fender, or at least the front of the tire, the center of the tire. So this has already been marked. So that way when we go back with our new spring, we know that this has to line up straight down with our mark on our strut here. So that way it all goes back in together and we don't have any problems. So go ahead and get our strut compressor tools on here, compress the spring, take the tension off the strut mount. Once it's loose, we can go ahead and remove our top strut mount bolts, and yeah, we'll have to release the pressure, compress our new springs, slide those on, and uncompress it and put it all back together. So let's go ahead and do that. Second one. All right, right there we should be good. Go ahead and the 18 millimeter. And of course it wants to spin. All right, time to release the tension. All right, well, that was fun. Taking springs apart, never fun. All right, so now we can take our shock out. This might have to come out to the top. Yeah. Ooh. There we go. I got comparing the old spring versus the new one. There's about maybe a coil and a half less. Same design, same style, progressive spring. You can tell it's a little bit wider on top and it gets narrow to the bottom. A little progressive spring. Go ahead and put this back together. Like I said, we're going to compress it, slide it all together, and uncompress it just like we just did, and then yeah, slide it back in and put this through here. Almost there. We've got enough thread showing on top, so we can go ahead and this is where we'll line up our strut mount to our bottom here and just make sure everything goes on together before we tighten everything up. Okay. All right. Time to go back in. All right, got the strut back in. All we got left now to do is attach the top fork, which is this part here. Shouldn't be too bad. Putting the fork back on, spray some WD-40 again on it, and I'm just gonna go ahead and, since the spring is a little shorter, you don't need to pry down. I'm just gonna simply put this back on and just kind of work its way back up. There it is. Use that as help. Just gonna put it on the lower ball joint. Let's see where I'm at there. Okay. Slide our bolt through there. A nut on top. All right, now we can go ahead and tighten everything back up. Time to put the wheel back on. Lower the front back on the ground. Let's see what this looks like. God, why are these gotta be so heavy? All right, well, let's take a look. Looks the same. Nah, obviously it's been in the air, so it's not settled down yet. So let's go ahead and, so we do the back already. I'm kind of curious if I should do the back now or later, because the back's gonna be lower than the front if I adjust it. Let's do it now. On the back, per instructions, these end links need to be adjusted to 65 millimeters from center to center. When you get them out of the bag, they're basically all the way zeroed out, bottomed out, so you do need to adjust them. I got a micrometer here, and I just set this at 65 millimeters, and the battery is dead on mine, so I'm gonna go ahead and just do it manually. So I'm gonna go ahead and adjust these end links evenly, and so this is centered in the center of that stud, and this is the center of that one. You got 65 millimeters. And go ahead and lock these nuts down so they don't move. And yeah, this is what's going to go in the back. You don't want to put it in like this, how it comes out of the bag, because it's not 65 millimeters. Even though it shows it in the picture like that, they're not adjusted. It's just telling you that you need to adjust them. So if you do it that way, you're going to be probably at maybe 60, 55 millimeters, and the back is in a self level even lower than what the front is, and it won't be level. So I'm gonna go ahead, like I said, turn around and get started in the back. Let's take a look underneath. All right, so there's our adjustable end link there. I'm gonna move these two 10 millimeters here, and then we will install our new adjustable ones that are already adjusted. Put those in, and yeah, simple as that. Remove these two 10 millimeter nuts. Now, they're gonna move and the nut's not gonna come off. You need to get a 10 millimeter wrench, stick behind here. The shorter the wrench, the better, obviously, because there's not much room back here. Let's see if I can get this top one off first. I can see it better. This nut off here. Pull that one off. Once we get the old one off, grab our new one and simply just put it in place. Now this back stud here is not going to be a 10 millimeter wrench. That's going to be an 8 millimeter. So you're gonna need an 8 millimeter wrench to hold that in place as well, because it's gonna spin as well, just like the old one. Well, you can scratch off the 20 millimeter spacers here because they are not going on. They're not fitting. They're not the right size, which they should be because these are made for the BMWs. 50120, 72.56 for the rear hub. And I made sure I cleaned it up really good with the wire brush. It's still not going on. So I'm not gonna force these on. I'm gonna return these. These are not going to work. So we're not doing that today. It's all right, we'll put the wheel back on. We already adjusted the rear, so we are gonna drive it around and see how it looks, see how it rides. All right, went inside to wash my hands, came back out, getting ready to go drive this, and looks like it's already lower in the back. Looks like the bag's already self-adjusted, but let's go drive it and see how she rides. All right, so far, feels pretty smooth. Don't feel rough. It feels a little bit stiffer than it was before, but maybe it's just in my head. Like I said, you know, since you just done something to your car, you're gonna automatically assume that it feels a little different. But it does feel a little bit stiffer. Yeah, those bumps did not feel like that before. But initially, normal bumps on the road, it feels good. It's just those really deep, big bumps. You're gonna feel it for sure. Since suspension travel is not as much. But we'll drive it around for a little bit and we'll get out after about 10 miles and see if its front settled a little bit longer, a little bit more, and then yeah, take a look at it. All right, guys. Well, drove around for about 10 miles and settled down a little bit more. This thing looks crazy good. So much better than what it was before. Got rid of a lot of the wheel gap in the front and in the back as well. The back already self-adjusted by itself before I even left the house. But man, this thing is looking good. Obviously, I'm on a little bit of a slope here, so the back looks a little lower than the front. But wow, the ride quality is great. Like I said, you definitely can feel a difference in some of the bigger bumps versus the smaller bumps. The small bumps you can't tell, but the bigger bumps you definitely can tell because the suspension has a lot less travel. So it's gonna, basically not bottom out, but there's less travel for the suspension, so it's gonna ride or feel a little stiffer. So those bumps are gonna be a little bit harder. But overall, man, guys, this looks good. I'm gonna get back home and take some final measurements. I'm gonna wait about a week before I get the final measurements. And I'm gonna wait about a week before I go take this in alignment because I want it to fully settle before I go get an alignment done. Because I don't want to go get an alignment done tomorrow and then it will drop down another quarter inch or something happens. So I'm gonna go ahead and wait about a week, let it settle, and then we will go ahead and get an alignment done. You definitely always want to get an alignment done regardless, whether you raise a car or lower a vehicle, regardless an inch or two. Always want to get the alignment done. That way you get the normal tire wear on your tires and nothing crazy. But man, that looks good, guys. What's going on, guys? Well, it's been officially a week since we lowered the BMW X5. And let me tell you guys, this thing looks amazing. I'm so impressed with the way this thing looks. Now, for the measurements go, what's up, cat? We were, let's call it 31 and 7/8 front and rear. Basically, it was exactly the same thing. Front and rear, 31 and 7/8 from the bottom of the tire, or at least from the floor, from the ground to the middle of the fender front and rear. 31 and 7/8 front and rear. Well, now we are exactly at 30.5. So we lowered this thing about 1.5 inches front and rear, exactly the same. Now the quality of the ride, I'm not gonna lie, it's obviously, as you would expect when you lower your vehicle, it's a little bit stiffer. Now it's not a harsh ride. Now the only way you can tell that it is a harsher ride is on those really extreme, heavy, deep bumps. Those are gonna hurt. Those, regardless in any kind of vehicle, those, especially on this, you're gonna tell that it's a harsher ride. But as far as normal day, everyday bumps, you're not gonna tell. Now as far as turning in corners, this thing handles even better. There's not as much body roll as before, but man, this thing looks great. Give you guys a little bit more of a side profile here, and give you guys a little walk around of what it looks like. I'm so happy with these springs here, and happy with the way it looks. Can't wait to see what it's gonna look like with different wheels and tires. And I'm gonna add a bumper spoiler that they sell for this bumper model here, and maybe even thinking about blacking out this section of the bumper right there, where that kind of where that edge goes, kind of make that a little bit blacker, look like a more opening space. But anyways, this thing looks good, guys. So yeah, if you guys are interested in doing this yourself or have any questions on the process, please feel free to put down in the comments down below, and I'll, like I said, I'll try to get to you guys as soon as I can. If you find this video helpful, please like, please subscribe. See you guys on the next one.